Steve Wright has been remembered as one of the best from BBC Radio 6's Hughie Morgan as he reflected on his greatest memories with the late host. Steve Wright was remembered by many of his co-stars last month following his heartbreaking death aged 69. Amongst the flood of tributes, the much-loved broadcaster was referred to as a legend, a master of his craft and a radio genius who was dedicated to the job and always took time out to help others. Speaking exclusively to Express.co.uk, BBC Radio 6 host Hughie Morgan, 55, said he knows all too well about Steve's kindness as he reflected on the advice he once gave him. After being fired from his slot on BBC Radio 2 during the COVID pandemic, Hughie said of Steve, "I miss that dude, they kind of treated him a little roughly as well, but that's the nature of the game. It was really cool spending time with a guy in that industry. He was probably one of the best that ever did it." Hughie previously hosted his early morning Saturday show on BBC Radio 2 up until April 2021. The presenter, who remains on BBC Radio 6, said he was fired and replaced despite great ratings. A spokesperson for the broadcaster has since said, "During the pandemic, Radio 2 had to implement changes to simplify the schedule, and the 4 to 6 a.m. Saturday morning slot was replaced by archive documentary slots." Hughie said he grew close to Steve during the recording of his Radio 2 show, which happened on Friday nights. "It was really cool. The guy who came in the studio after me was Tony Blackburn, and about the time I would finish, Steve Wright would finish the live part of his show. Those two guys would sit around with me and we'd talk, and they'd have some really great advice for me and were really supportive and helped me out with a lot of stuff I was trying to do." Steve fronted a number of programs for BBC Radio 1 and Radio 2 for more than 4 decades after joining the corporation in the 1970s. He was last heard on the airwaves in a pre-recorded special Valentine's Day edition of his Love Songs program. The radio personality died on February 12, with police later saying his death was unexpected but not suspicious. A statement at the time read, "It is with deep sorrow and profound regret that we announce the passing of our beloved Steve Wright.